The Santana building rose like a scar in the heart of the city, its 20 floors covered by decades of abandonment and graffiti. The broken windows looked like empty eyes observing the street movement, while creeping vegetation grew through concrete cracks, giving the building an almost organic appearance. Marcus adjusted the main camera while observing the deteriorated facade. His 3 companions prepared the equipment. Luana tested the directional microphone. Rafael organized the extra flashlights, and Diego configured the backup camera. The legend of the Santana building was known by any resident of the downtown area. Built in the 1970s, it had been abandoned during construction after a series of accidents that culminated in the death of 16 workers. Since then, it had become the epicenter of macabre stories. The most persistent of these legends spoke about the 20th floor. According to reports, anyone who managed to reach there never returned. Witnesses claimed to have seen some of these people on the streets days later, but different, empty, as if something fundamental had been extracted from their essence. Marcus and his team had researched extensively about the location. They found records of at least 43 disappearances over 5 decades, all involving people last seen near the building. The group entered the building through a side opening. The interior revealed decay that exceeded the most pessimistic expectations. The floor was covered with rubble, crushed glass, and organic debris. The air carried a humid and sickly odor, a mixture of mold and decomposition. The main staircase remained structurally solid despite superficial damage. The steps were covered by a dark substance that could be slime or dried blood. The walls displayed graffiti in overlapping layers, creating an urban palimpsest where words of despair mixed with incomprehensible symbols. It was on the 4th floor that Marcus noticed the first anomaly. The corridor configuration seemed identical to the previous floor. The same moisture stain on the ceiling, the same star-shaped graffiti, the same hole in the floor near the broken window. Initially, he attributed the coincidence to the limitations of a repetitive architectural project. The climb continued methodically. 5th, 6th, 7th floor, each revealing the same disturbing spatial configuration. The corridors, the side, rooms, even the arrangement of debris followed an identical pattern that defied any rational explanation. On the 8th floor, Luana stopped abruptly in the main corridor. The equipment registered sounds that didn't correspond to normal noises, footsteps echoing in offset frequency, as if someone walked parallel to the group. Rafael directed his flashlight toward the end of the corridor and saw a human figure walking in the same direction. The silhouette was too familiar. The height, the way of walking, even the clothes corresponded to his own characteristics. Marcus focused the camera in the indicated direction, but the figure had disappeared. However, the footprints in the dust told a different story. There were 2 sequences of marks, one from the group and another following exactly the same path. From the 9th floor onward, the apparitions became more frequent. Each member began to spot their own image walking through the side corridors, maintaining the same speed as the original. The figures didn't react to contact attempts, simply existing as 3-dimensional reflections detached from their sources. Diego was the first to disappear on the 11th floor. The group had stopped to change batteries when they noticed his absence. His belongings remained in place, carefully arranged as if he had evaporated during a routine task. The search revealed something disturbing. Diego was there, organizing equipment in a side corridor, but something had changed. His movements were mechanical, too precise, as if executing a programmed routine. When Marcus tried to call him, Diego turned, but his eyes didn't focus on anything specific. He looked through people, not at them. The altered version of Diego accompanied the group for 3 floors, carrying equipment with robotic efficiency. He didn't speak, showed no emotions, and didn't react to stimuli. He was Diego, and at the same time wasn't, a functional version but emptied of humanity. Luana disappeared on the 15th floor. She was found 2 floors above, operating the microphone, with technical precision but with the same vacancy in her eyes that characterized Diego's new version. Rafael vanished on the 18th floor, simply ceasing to exist between one step and another. Marcus discovered he was alone, accompanied only by the altered versions of his companions, who continued executing their functions with mechanical precision. The 20th floor proved different from all previous ones. There were no repetitive corridors or side rooms. Just a wide circular space with bare concrete walls and a single door in the center. The door was made of heavy metal, with industrial hinges and a complex lock. The screams came from inside, unmistakable and desperate. They weren't abstract laments, but specific human voices, pleas for help, supplications for liberation, and more disturbingly, the names of Marcus and his companions being called in tones of growing agony. The altered versions of Diego, Luana, and Raphael positioned themselves around the door, their equipment methodically documenting the final situation. Their cameras focused on Marcus with perfect technical precision. Marcus approached the lock and discovered the door wasn't locked. The mechanism's complexity was illusory. It was enough to turn a lever to release the latches. The screams intensified when his hand touched the cold metal. The door opened silently, revealing a space that shouldn't exist. It was an infinite corridor, extending beyond the reach of light. The side walls were covered with rows of identical doors, each emitting the same muffled screams. The altered versions of his companions followed him inside, their cameras still recording with mechanical precision. Behind them, the 20th floor door closed with a definitive metallic sound. On the city streets, 3 familiar figures descended from the Santana building the next morning. Diego, Luana, and Raphael walked the sidewalks with their equipment, executing precise and functional movements. Their eyes didn't focus on anything specific, looking through the world instead of at it. Darkness hides in the details. If you made it this far, the story must have pulled you in. Leave a like, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Alma Oculta and ring the bell. That way, you won't miss the next. Dive into terror and mystery. Until next time, if the night allows it.